Hi, I'm Jill Ayres. I'm with Group for Architecture Research and Planning.
And I'm Carson Block with Carson Block Consulting, and we're here to tell you about the San Diego Public Library Master Plan Framework.
Thank you, Carson. We've been working hard on this plan over the past 2 years, and we are super excited to have the opportunity to share it with you. This presentation that we're doing right now is just a quick glimpse at some of the highlights of the plan. We do encourage you to go read the full draft plan document, which has a ton more detail about our findings and insights and recommendations for the future. So we'll have that link to that plan at the end of this presentation. Purpose of this project was to create a plan to guide decision-making about future library improvements in San Diego. It doesn't get into branch-specific recommendations, but it does have a set of principles and strategies and a framework for planning future projects. Process, we took a deep dive into data about the San Diego Public Library and San Diego communities. We looked at what other libraries and communities are doing nationally and around the world. And we looked hard at what San Diegans had to say in this process. In Carson's and my experience in working on other master plans and other communities, this was robust participation that we got here for this project, despite it being mostly remote because of COVID. We had surveys for community members and library staff, open to anyone and everyone who wished to participate. University of San Diego's nonprofit institute ran focus groups for populations that are often underrepresented in plans like this. We had working groups with library staff and with community stakeholders, and presentations to the Library Commission, to the Public Safety and Livable Neighborhoods Committee, and to you. San Diego has a master plan that's been in effect since 2002, and that plan has been very successful. It was adopted with an emphasis on expanding library space to accommodate past and future community growth in San Diego. And it was very successful. You got a beautiful new central library. You've got some beautiful new branches. A couple are still in the works. New San Carlos and Ocean Beach expansion are still being planned. After the last 19 years, you've got 80% more library space now than you did in 2002, and significantly expanded library service in San Diego. However, some areas of San Diego still have more library space than others. More than half of the library's branches weren't improved over the last 19 years. As I said, that plan was focused on expansion. Not a comprehensive look at all the facilities and what they needed. So many of the branches that weren't touched that master plan are in some of San Diego's older and less affluent neighborhoods. They tend to be smaller or very small. Many of them are crowded, and they struggle to meet community needs. And a lot of them have moderate to significant maintenance needs. There was a 2016 study that the city did of all of its facilities. And at that time, 5 years ago, there was already about a $50 million backlog of maintenance needs in just these libraries that weren't touched in the last master plan. So these kinds of deficits definitely affect how the access the community has to library services and to the San Diego Public Library's ability to provide services.
That's right. And space itself is challenged. The library expansion projects over the past 20 years just didn't add enough space to stay ahead of population growth. Over time, needs and priorities for library services, for technology, for collections also grew, and they also diversified. Demand for space in libraries to work, to collaborate, and gather is only growing. Now, looking ahead, San Diego Association of Governments project 20% more population growth over the next 30 years, and that will put even more strain on San Diego's libraries. SDPL is a highly creative and innovative organization, but serving the community also requires resources. SDPL's budget hasn't increased nearly as much as the amount of space it now operates. Now, even with major contributions from community donors and organizations such as the San Diego Public Library Foundation and the Friends of the San Diego Public Library, SDPL's operating budget is still significantly less than the California state average. So what this means is the library's collection is too small to meet community needs, particularly for materials in multiple languages as well as new and popular titles. Library technology is insufficient and outdated, especially in the neighborhoods where it is needed the most. And library staff are stretched thin and don't always have the time, the training, or the tools to meet patron needs. This plan provides a framework for an equitable, resilient, and high-performing network of libraries for San Diego. This framework is specific to the needs of San Diego, and it was informed by library trends and best practices from around the globe. But it also leverages the experience, the strengths, the innovations, and the success of San Diego Public Library's experience serving San Diego communities. It incorporates the ideas and input as well of thousands of San Diegans who have participated in the planning process.
Just a quick look at some of the principles and strategies in the plan. Strategies and principles about place. Every library in the San Diego Public Library system should provide a wow experience for patrons. It should be a place that they want to come back to over and over and over again. Recognizing that different communities within San Diego have different needs and different priorities for library service. The branch libraries should embrace that and tailor services and spaces to meet those local needs and opportunities and priorities. In other words, there's no one size fits all library that's right for all of San Diego. That said, there is an interest, we heard over and over again, an interest in programs and events and gatherings in the library. So every library in San Diego should have the ability to host programs and events. The framework proposes a new metric for branch library space that will provide more room for the community for programming, for technology, for collections, for current and future populations. That metric also can be used with a proposed methodology for planning library space that will ensure equity throughout San Diego in access to library space and services. The framework proposes a minimum size for new and expanded library branches. Bigger is better. It's proved that in the past, and that will continue to be the case in the future. The last master plan, the 2002 master plan, also, its strategy was to look for opportunities to replace the smaller, older, tinier branches with newer, bigger, better ones. And that strategy was successful and should continue in the future.
Now, support for the plan is crucial. More funding is needed to operate expanded facilities and services, and that need for more funding will likely scale as population grows. Now, the city has been proactive about involving the community in library projects, and continued city support is encouraged through the next master plan.
So, like we said, quick presentation, quick set of highlights. If you want to find out more, we encourage you to look at the draft document, which is available at the link here on the screen. That's also where you can find out where to provide your comments on the draft and your thoughts about libraries in San Diego generally. You can find out information about how to participate in the Q&A sessions, which are scheduled for August 24th, which is a Tuesday, and Saturday, September 18th. Carson and I will both be there to hear questions and have that discussion. There's going to be an information update at the Public Safety and Livable Neighborhoods Committee meeting in September, which is a public meeting. So if you're interested, feel free to join us there as well. And thank you so much for sharing a few minutes with us today. And we look forward to hearing your thoughts on the draft plan.
Thank you so much. Hope to see you soon.